Dun, 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 dun. What's up, baby? How's everybody doing? Diversionary web. Hopefully, you're not like the diversionary BS that Bug relates to when he speaks about his mom to his dad. Miss Persevere, Luna, Grammy, Amy, my mama. So, Channel Surfer, good to see you. Laced in Chains, cosplay Queen Ashley. And of course, number one was Jaded this morning. I I bought this Apple Watch a few months ago, and I hate the damn thing. I absolutely hate it. Now, what I'd like to do is in the upcoming days, maybe in the next week, I'd like to raffle the watch. I also have a new band and case and cover set up for it, so you could essentially take it out of the case I have it in and put it in a whole new watch band and all that. I'd like to. That's it. Now, because of I like to stay in touch, small. So because I like to stay in touch, when I have the notifications on, I find I got to charge that joker like twice a day. It's not set up for somebody like me. So, America, Saricia, Sweet D, Kasha. Yes, so I want to raffle it off to somebody in the community. You got to have an Apple phone, though, is the deal. So, I understand that there's these um, sites where you can do like a raffle. It's for entertainment purposes only. But I like to get rid of it to somebody who could use it before it gets taken out of my car or I lose it. I've lost it once already. So we'll be doing that here in the next week or so. Camille, what's up, baby? Lily Rochelle, what's up, baby? It tracks vitals and all that. Yeah, it does. It's got an app for everything. It's one of them. It's one of the big boys with the big screen. It's Apple. It's in my car now, but I keep leaving it in the car in the little thing right there in the front, and I always leave my car unlocked because I'm from the old school. I'd rather somebody just open the door to go in my car than break the window out and go, and then unlock the door and go in. So I just kind of remove the whole lock situation to keep the window. That's kind of where I'm at. So um, just enter into the raffle 616. Enter to the raffle and maybe you can win. It's not an Ernie show kind of raffle where you got to pay to enter. The only requirement for entry is that you have an Apple. What you do with it after you get it is all on you. But I really don't want to try to give it to somebody that I think is going to automatically try to sell it because they got an Android or something like that. Ooh, is that a bump? No, it's hair. I thought I had a bump from way back here. It looked like a bump. Started to remind me of this new wood. It's been locked in Jody's life. Yeah, yeah. Jody's got a new big old blemish on her face. I don't know where that came. I was just told about it. So, anyhow, this morning, the segment is called Double O Oof. It's like 007. Here, look at the thumb. It's like 007, except for there's no fancy British accents, and pretty much probably any of those three didn't probably um, graduate high school. So, oh yeah, I know where I sent the picture. It's right over here. I sent it to Tiffany. Now I don't know, like maybe one of them neck nipples ran north. I don't know, but there it is. You see it? There it is in all its glory. It's right there. Either that or she's being cute and she drew a little Marilyn Monroe, just a little bit east to everything. Should be more like right here. But she put the Joker over here. I don't know, when you zoom it in, it almost looks like she had pulled something out of her face. Look. Like maybe she got shot. I don't know what it is, but it certainly looks like somebody dug off in there. So in the meantime, in between time, we're not going to talk about that anymore. what we're going to talk about is the new breaking news. There's a connection between Scotch tape and Brad. You want me to show you how I know? Watch. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yikes. That's all I can say. It's oof and yikes. Okay? So, first let me start with this. Now, this, as you may see, is a family tree. There are some ladies in the community that actually really like to work on genealogy, and they work the sites, right? So this site is a genealogy site. Now, what's very interesting about this site is that in the late 1800s, 1895 to be exact, to the 69, you can see, so these linear lines are going to suggest a marriage. These suggest blood, right? That's the way I interpret it, right? So when you've got a scenario that's like this, it's descendants, right? When it's this way, it's a marriage. So at some point, Mr. McCrary, he married into the Sherfy family. As you can see here, I identify, it says Sherfy as well in all of this. Now, this tree is just consolidated on this limb. As you can see, it goes west, it goes east, it goes southwest, southeast, it goes all the ways. So that's really still being investigated, right? Now, moving away from the Sherfy, the alleged, there is a Sherfy connection. Okay, well, it is what it is. It's by marriage, right? So now you can see that Bradley is the descendant of these two. Okay, now Bradley is also a descendant of Gene. Gene has a connection to Linda. Duh. Scott has a connection to Linda. So there was already kind of one loose leaf connection between Scott and Brad, right? Now, absolutely. Okay, let me do something really quickly. I'm gonna actually have the curator come. Hold the phone. This just got way more interesting. This just got way more interesting. Okay, so you do like this, do like this. Actually, let me, hold on. Give me just about 45 seconds, please. Thank you so much for your time. I know your time is valuable. StreamYard. I'm going to send the link this away. Invite guest, copy. Okay, now we're going to get into it. I'm going to have the curator come up. Now, not going to get too deeply involved into it until a couple of guests show up. So, but what I will do is we'll go through what I just had pulled up again, right? So, what we have here is Bradley. Now, Bradley married Crystal, right? But that didn't last very long, evidently. And then he moved on to Windi. Now, don't be confused. Windi is like stormy or like summer or like autumn or like, you know, the name Tuesday or Wednesday, rainy. It also sort of sounds like a stage name. Okay, there, I said it. So Windi was born a Holden, right? Now, let me go over here and see who's in our chat really quick. I don't see, I'm sort of extinguishing the available real estate I have until the guests get here. So All of the elements are available. That's it, Luda. Now, holy shit. My Apple Music just turned on my headphones and it almost scared the soul out of me. I know you didn't see it, but yikes. Pre-gaming with you? Yeah. Absolutely, Luda. Good morning, gorgeous. Good to see you, Miss Bridget. Hello, Grace. Hello, Lippy. Good to see you too, Gorge. So, let me go on, Bad. I'm just stalling a little bit. You guys know how I do. Little Deb, what's up, baby? Yeah, I am just kind of stalling for right now until. How do you guys like that thumbnail art? This shit is getting very. It's like a movie almost, isn't it? Hold on, look. Double O oof. Double O oof. Good to see you, little Dev. Good to see you. So, we were wondering how some of these people were connected. Now, the ex-wife, loving the thumbnail. It's on fleek, baby. Bam. Thank you, baby. Wondering how these locals are all tied together and connected. Now, was talking on the telephone last night, and I was speaking to someone, and I was like, from now on, like the West case, Classic and Sincere, they had a bit of the dynamic of the local dynamic, right? You had the neighbor, you had a few other people from there in the town, you had some people from a few streets over that played a role, and so all of these people, they played a role. And a lot of you know my lineage there. I was right, but then I was wrong, right? I took the YouTube hit. I was wrong. The adoptive parents were charged with the boy's demise. But in the moral, ethical world of real, upright, bipedal human beings that could be looked at as potential jurors, I was right. Now, there were some that were right first because just out of passion, they were right. They're like, they're guilty. They were right. Or if you look in terms of innocence before guilt, they were wrong first and then right once they were charged. I was right and then wrong. So when you have people, and the implication is heavy and widespread, when you have people who are local that can actually physically do things, what you run into is those people that either A, are wrong and then right, or right and then wrong. Because on YouTube, when you cover a case, unless you think unless you think they're innocent and then fight for innocence after they're charged, then you're wrong. If you think they're guilty and then they're found innocent, but then you still proclaim guilt for them, then you could be wrong twice, right? So in most instances, we're all going to be wrong or right, or then right and then wrong in the eyes of the YouTube, right? Now, in the rare event that we're right and right, it's a beautiful thing. It could be right and right either with innocence or guilt. It just depends on how your stance is, right? So, took a screenshot and send it to Benny and see what's up. Okie dokie. So, I'm going to go ahead and move forward a little bit. I'm not going to be able to do this thing justice like the ladies will, but let's take a look. Now, if you're not subscribed to Tiffany's TM's channel, please, you could even do that now. You could rush over there and check it out. Subscribe, please. Go ahead and subscribe. Now, let's take a look here. Windi Lou, 423 Chase, or as we know in Brad's ex-wife, in Scott H. So Brad, Windi, and Scott. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's from our beautiful friend Emergency Me, right? Now, this is Windi Lou, ex-Rashawn. Rashawn. I said Rashawn. My bad. I was thinking of locals in Cal City still. This is the person who connected me to Scott H in CM's Discord. CM, we all know what those two letters mean to us outside of the alphabet. This being Scott, being Brad's ex-wife, is the connection between Scott H in CM's Discord to Brad. In his Discord, she went by the name No One or something like that. Me, her, Scott, Indy, and 6 others. I think she forgot the W. Me, oh, no, I guess Indy's somebody different. Me, her, Scott, Indy, and 6 others. I can't remember them all. That's a typo as well. She could not remember all 6. We're in a group chat that talked about Don being at work the day Summer went missing. They knew the job site, I guess, the house, co-workers' statements, everything. Now, there's another one, as the arrow suggests. I just found out who she is. Now, at the time, I was under the belief that potentially it was Brad's sister. But then through the genealogy, we find that it is his ex-wife. Why the fuck would she be messing around in this from the beginning? That's Brad's dad beside her. I only talked to her in CM's Discord after he shut his down. I don't know where she went. I know that's her because she turned on her camera and showed everyone her face. So what she was doing is she was involved in funneling people from CM's Discord over to Scott's new Discord, right? Fair enough. Let's come over here. Holy smokes is right. Brad's ex-wife and Scott in a Discord? Yeah. Now, I want to show you a couple of other photos while we're waiting on the ladies here. It's interesting. It's a double O'Reilly Auto Parts. I can't make this shit up. It's the real deal. It comes from a heavy hitter in TM side of the community. All y'all know who Emergency Me is. She's a heavy hitter with the truth. Okay, just a moment. It's getting closer. In the words of Jim Terry, the chat is starting to swell. Oops. It's a major oof. Yeah. Now. Okay. That's crazy. Emergency is 100. Yeah. Check this out. In other news, until we wait for the lady. Yeah, Emergency Me always stands for truth. Oof, despair, and agony. Yikes. She's a badass, I'm just saying. Now, let's check out a couple more of these photos. We've got O'Reilly's Auto Parts. And Chase's story about shutting down for 5 months to search for Summer and paying all his employees to help. What he said was 6 or 7 weeks. He didn't say 5 months. Girl, I lived in Beach Creek till not long ago. Not once did I meet or see that dude. And I have months of SD cards filled with all the traffic searchers, cops, etc., 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 on Ben Hill. Oh dear. I will be back and forth for the next 20 minutes. It's time to fix lunch for this wild crew. Not sure when he came into everything, but he's always seemed above board. September 4th was the first time I communicated with Chase. I thought he was maybe some type of victim and until seems to be the case for a lot of locals. Fair enough. Thank you. Oh shit. This is rough. This is rough and tumble play here. Yikes. So, I have a treat. Hello, emergency.
Well, hello.
How are you, beautiful?
I'm wonderful.
Awesome. So, would you like to wait until TM gets here?
We can start.
Okay. So this first came to your attention around about when?
A couple days ago.
So a couple of days ago, you started putting some of the pieces together.
The picture. Hold on.
You want me to show it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The picture was brought to my attention. And is there an echo?
Hold on. There might be. I think I may have to check some settings really quick. Hold on. Audio. There, we should be good now.
Is that better, guys?
Yes, that will be better.
Okay.
I had it set in my audio crazy. So, a couple of days ago, you saw the picture. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the picture was brought to my attention. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, what? Because I recognize the person from a group message that happened in Chris McDonough's Discord. So I was a part of Chris McDonough's Discord for a really long time, before he ever made it public to everybody with Summer Wells.
Okay.
So when he made it public to everybody for Summer Wells, obviously a whole bunch of people joined. And at one point, kind of like a section of people kind of broke off talking about Don.
Okay.
And about his whereabouts on June 15th. And
now that broke away to where, Miss Emergency?
Huh?
Where did that break off to? You said it broke away. A portion of it broke away. Where did it break off to?
Just in a group call, like
okay.
not in his Discord, but like a group call outside of his Discord.
Okay. Now this picture, really quick. This picture was taken from her Facebook, correct?
I have no idea. I just saw it as that picture.
Okay.
So,
good morning, Miss Tiffany.
So
Good morning.
So that group call happened, and everybody in that group call was basically listening to her. And she was talking about his whereabouts of like where he was, what job site he was located at, what house. I mean, literally, we were seeing pictures of all of this stuff. She was providing that information of everything. So, and all the information that we all know now, right? That was all provided by her. So, like the job site, the location,
which also let me show, not to go too far off a track, but yesterday Miss TM showed me the link between, well, not the link, but when the birth of the communication was between her and Bradley, which was on August 23rd.
Yeah, he emailed me and told me that he had uploaded a video in regards to the Meadows, because I had put out a video about what happened in Jonesboro. Yeah.
Yes. So, and it's this one here.
Yep. Yeah, it would have been before that.
It was before that.
Yeah, it was way before that. So I don't remember when, because Chris McDonough shut down his Discord before then. And this phone call would have happened before Chris McDonough shut down his Discord. And
do you have idea the roundabout month that he shut down his Discord?
I would say that happened. I don't know exactly when he did that, but
it had to have been, it wouldn't have been in October because it was after or Emergency Me. Do you remember? Because his channel was taken and he didn't have a Discord actually at that point. That's why I opened up mine for his people. I remember that. So remember when he came up and he had lost his channel? Do you remember how soon before that he closed it out?
Maybe? I want to say he closed out his Discord in I want to say he closed out his Discord at the end of August or the beginning of September.
Okay.
But the call that we had was, I want to say it was in July.
July?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Like mid-July. Okay. Because I went to, at the beginning of August, I went to Vegas, and I know it was before then.
Okay. So when this just must have flooded to you when all the pieces started to click, right?
Yeah. As soon as I saw that picture, I knew exactly who it was, because in that phone call, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Because in that phone call, she showed her face, and it was on accident. She didn't mean to, but she showed it. And when she was like flipping through screens, she showed her face on that phone call. And I have a knack for voices, names, and obviously faces, right? So it was something like I saw her face, but I had talked to her. She ended up, basically everybody in that phone call got kicked out of Chris McDonough's Discord.
Why?
Because somebody had reported that that we had all been in there, to one of his his top mod, Miss Sophia.
Okay.
And
was Miss Sophia around on? Oh, so Miss Sophia was on the call too?
No, she wasn't in the call, but somebody had reported to her that we had all been in there. And I didn't get kicked out of Chris McDonough's Discord. But I was helping Miss Sophia on the background of helping her with Chris McDonough's Discord. She didn't know how to do certain things in Discord itself, and I was helping her learn how to do Discord. So I kind of just got saved because I was helping her with Discord issues.
Okay.
So I didn't get kicked. Now, so that kind of but she started kind of kicking people out of Chris McDonough's Discord, which kind of is I think, in my opinion, is the catalyst of why Chris McDonough's Discord got shut down. Plus, there was a whole bunch of trolls and other people coming in causing trouble. And I think that was also another thing of why he shut it down. But that's, again, in my opinion. You'd actually have to ask him why he shut it down.
Right.
But
right.
None of my business. But that was the catalyst of things. But so she ended up creating a Discord. She invited me into it. Scott was in there. That was the second time. That was the first time I actually spoke to Scott.
What was the name of that Discord? Do you remember?
Emergency? I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I was in there briefly. And so that was the first time I spoke to Scott. But it was me, Scott, and another person. And me and her became really good friends. And it was crazy.
You and this lady became very good friends?
Not me and this Windy person. No.
Okay. Another person unnamed.
Yeah, unnamed.
Okay, gotcha.
We became really good friends. Then, but I talked to Scott for the first time there, and he kind of like yesterday. Penny said something about somebody asked Penny, how did you get involved with Scott? And her answer was, he vetted me. Well, that was what Scott was doing with me. He was vetting me. The problem is that what happened with Scott was, I have a daughter who's gay, and Scott started talking homophobic around me, and which didn't go off very well because I have a gay daughter. So as he was degrading homosexuals, he pissed me off. And so unbeknownst to him, as he's doing that, I vetted him. So he's talking horribly about homosexuals and talking terribly about, African Americans and people of different races. And then going like randomly on like conspiracy theories about 9/11 and all of these weird things. I was like, oh yeah, dude, we're not going to work.
Mr. Hunt was
work with me. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, which was the problem. And then, so I decided to leave that Discord because that's what their gig was about. That was what their topic of conversations was. Then I ran into Scott again in AB's Discord. And he tried again, which is where he told me, and the same individual that I became friends with, that the boys were in CPS custody, which was the first time I heard about that, and that all of those kinds of things. But he didn't remember. I don't know if he didn't remember me or if he did, because it was me and the same individual. And he tried again, and it was supposed to be like a secret that the boys were in CPS care and where their locations were and all of these types of things. And so it was weird. The whole thing was weird. Scott's weird. I don't like him.
So,
but yeah.
Did you see, can you explain to me, or all of us, there's 320 of us here, Miss Emergency, can you explain the nature of the public relationship you saw between Windi and Scotch?
Oh,
like, what was the nature of it?
They're
friendly. Did you get the context? Friends. So you got the context that potentially there may have been some connection even before all of this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, because she's the one that introduced me to Scott, which was like her friend. I mean, and she was that way with him. Like, this is my friend. And it didn't seem like that they were, like new friends, right? Like they knew each other.
Let me ask you, did you see a comment from this gal in which the contents of that comment would have been something to the nature of no one should be online bashing Brad or Chase?
She never mentioned at that time. I mean, she never mentioned anything about Brad or Chase or anything like that. I never saw anything about her. Like, I never knew until the moment I saw her picture and the connection was made that she was anything to Brad. Like, I had no idea who she was in relation to Brad. I just knew her as the person who connected me to Scott.
So, Emergency, Luda has a question for you real quick. She says, at Emergency Me, Was Windi a random sub of CM, or she had a role in his channel / Discord?
As far as I knew, she was just a person in CM's Discord.
Okay.
So I don't even
Okay.
know she was subbed to him or anything like that, because at that point in time, there was just a whole bunch of people joining CM's Discord.
Emergency
Just a
me.
flood.
Yeah, just a flood.
So when you saw, so that you explained to me that that photo was shown to you of her and the light bulb went off, right? So you got a flashback of her face, like you remembered her. And this was
Yeah.
just a couple days ago, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like I saw this picture of her and I recognized her from that phone call in Discord. And what, like, the whole thing happened of her being in that group call, the conversation that happened, you know, the association of what happened in that
What do
group
you
call.
remember about that call? Is there anything in, like, particular that you remember that you were talking about, or
We were talking about Dawn's whereabouts
Yeah.
on the day of June 15th. And
Yeah.
she was the one that was leading the conversation about where he was, like the job site, the house that he was working on, all of, like, showing
Windi
screenshots of all that.
Little, Brad's ex-wife, is the one that did that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was the one. And so, like, my thought process is that when Linda came out, I was thinking that Linda and her were the same person, because everybody was like, Linda's the one that showed,
Right.
you know, that was the first person that was saying all that information. Well, I knew who told me from the very beginning all of that information. But
And that's the same thing Linda always said.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then Linda was close with Scott, right? And I know that the Windi person was close to Scott. So I always connected the two of them as the same person. But that's the picture of that person, of Windi, is who I spoke to in the group call. And then later on after that.
So it would seem in track, because this is the way he reached out to EM, was saying that he had video of the Meadows. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, the Meadows was the area of Jonesboro where Don was working the day and the weeks leading up to. So she comes on and also has a lot of information about the Meadows and some of these other places as well. Am I correct?
Yeah, no, she was the first person that ever said it.
So you,
and this,
okay. So you immediately knew that the lady was a local.
yes.
Okay.
Well,
Fair enough.
I didn't know that
Fair enough.
I didn't know that she was a local, because
But I mean, you felt like she was, probably because of the information, right?
Yeah, and later on she said other things that kind of led me away of thinking that, like, she was trying to insinuate that she wasn't, but I always felt like she was, or was at one time, or knew somebody that was. And then I don't know how to explain that. Like, when Scott said that he was local, I was like, okay, well, maybe she just has that information because he's the local guy, right? But
Right.
from the get-go of that conversation, like from the very first phone call of when she was talking, she felt local. Like, it felt like she knew the area too well.
Sure.
And then Scott came in. When Scott was talking, I was like, well, maybe she is that familiar with the area because Scott's the go-to guy.
The mountain man perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from the very first phone call, it didn't feel like that. It felt like she was the local too, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
TM, let me ask you a question. You said that he had made a reference to Miss Hala.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Right. So, be yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Miss Hala. So, emergency me, actually. Didn't you catch that last night, Brad?
Oh, yes. Okay. So
Yes.
I was in, okay, again. God, I was in a lot of Discords. Uh, okay. So I was in I was a mod in a Discord, and um, Penny and I had already discussed this. And she knows what Discord I'm talking about, and I don't know if I should say it or not. Um,
Yeah,
but
don't hold anything back.
okay, so
Good idea.
I was in a Discord, and the Discord's name was well, this lady's changed this Discord name a million times and over, but it was basic Gemma Willow's Discord,
Okay.
and I was just I get myself in these situations, I swear.
Okay, you're doing so good.
I'm like,
No,
like,
you do
You're doing
great.
fabulous.
God help me. But I like she didn't know how to do a Discord either. So I was like, I can help you. I can help you set it up. And so she wanted to set up a Discord, but she didn't know how to do it. And she came from Facebook. So she wanted to bring all of her like local Facebook people over and all of that kind of stuff. So she asked if I would help her set up a Discord. So I was like, yeah, I'll help you set it up. But I don't want to hang out or anything. So I'll help you set it up. Once you get it all running the way you want it to do, you can have one of the local people from your Facebook, and she's local. She lives in Sullivan County. But she's into a whole bunch of things, weird things. Not only missing kids, but like other things. Anyways, one of her other mods was Miss Hala. Now, she didn't call us our names in there. So Miss Hala was Lady, I think she named her Lady H or Lady something else. Something. And then at the time, my Discord name was Jamaican. Okay. And then so in her Discord, my
Okay.
name was Jamie or Jamie. Okay.
That's what you came to me as, both of those names, I believe. I
Yes.
remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I was in her Discord. Me and Miss Hala did not get along, quite frankly. And I know Miss Hala had a Discord. The person who did all of the like fake flowers for Summer's vigil was Miss Hala. She and Ginger Snap were really close. Ginger Snap and Brad were really close. And Miss Hala is Scott's main mod. Okay. So and I already had bad things with Scott going on, right? Like I already had a situation with Scott, didn't like him, all of that. Well, as I'm helping Willow set up her Discord, a lot of really crappy shit was going on. And Scott was, on a terror. All the stuff about Chase is coming out. And Willow made basically in her Discord made a safe haven for all of them. So there was Scott, there was Chase, there was Trixie, there was all of these people in there. And she just had a safe haven for all of them to attack creators, a free for all, and all of Scott's people to be able to do that. And I told her, I was like, I can't do it. I can't be in here. And I'd actually got in trouble with Tiffany. I had sent and put in Tiffany's Discord the link to Willow's Discord, because I wanted Tiffany's people, all of us, to be able to see what was going on in there, because it was terrible. It was really bad. And I got in trouble by Tiffany for it.
Oh, shit.
I did.
I remember.
And but I ended up having, because I had talked to Scott, on a personal level.
It's like
I talked to him.
gateways to other areas that are really not so savory, right? So like I
Yeah.
try to be real careful. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I know I messed up, but I was like, it was one of those situations. It's like all this crap is going on over here. And wow, I'm the only person that's seeing it. And like one of the rules of her Discord was like no screenshots. And I couldn't like, I'm not a rule breaker. So I'm like, I can't take any screenshots. So the only way to get around this is like, come look, everybody, please come look at what's going on over here. Help me kind of situation. Right. So it was one of those. But so anyways, I had Chase was in there. And so I had asked Willow's permission if I could even like send Chase a DM because I wanted to ask him like 3 questions. And I don't even remember the 3 questions I asked him. But as soon as he wrote back to me, I like sent it to Tiffany because I was like, this guy is such a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cuss, but I'm like, this
You're
guy is
okay.
so,
You're amongst cussers.
I'm like,
It's a
this guy,
fish. Let it swim.
this guy is such a piece of shit, But I remember asking him like, why did he set his when he set up his YouTube? That was like one of the main questions. But I'm like, why did you set up your YouTube channel 11 days before Summer went missing? And he wrote back this like bullshit answer, and just like,
Do you remember what the answer was? I mean, generally,
I had said I took screenshots of it because I sent it to Tiffany, and I didn't save it, but I don't remember, but it was shit. It was some used car salesman.
Some
answer,
variation
right?
of what we've all heard already, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was, but it was just crap. I mean, but there was 3 questions I wanted answers for. And so in the end, it basically was just like a used cars salesman answer. And I was like, yeah, right. And then he's like, at the end of it, he was like, you can call me or you can text me anytime you want. And I was like, yeah, it's never going to happen, dude. But this is no.
Did you feel like that comment you made at the end? He's like, you could text me or call. Did you feel like that was a little romancy, or was he just like, okay?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely, it was gross, right? Like it was very used car salesman. It was very, like using his like almost like Rico Suave ways or something. And I was like, you're never, no.
So what?
I don't believe you. And I think you're gross, and I never keep it a secret. Ever have I ever kept it a secret that I'm married, right? I'm married and all of that. And so it was clear as day in Willow's Discord that I'm a married woman. And for him to ever insinuate anything of that, it just shows your character. Plus, Trixie was in the Willow's Discord, right? Trixie was the one that said, like to him, hey, babe, to letting him know that I'm trying to reach out to him. So here in DMs, you're trying to holler at me kind of thing. I was like, oh God, gross.
Wow.
This whole thing was just.
Trixie and Chase got together and they were pretty hot and heavy. They met in real life and stuff. They were together for a little bit.
Right. I mean, it was just, the whole thing was just, the whole situation was just gross, right? Like Trixie's letting him know that I'm reaching out to him. He reaches out to me. It was just like, I'm married. It was just gross. The whole thing was gross. Plus he just lied. Like,
was there any, because I don't know about pretty much any of this stuff. Was there any visible relationship between Trixie and Scott?
Oh yeah. She in Willow's Discord, she called him babe. She's like, I love you. All of those kinds of things. Right. Like it was.
So she's with Brad in real life, but also on like having communications with Scott as well.
Yeah. She marked her territory clearly.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Wow. So, wow. And so when CM shuts his Discord, everybody disperses from there. And like you said, you don't know where no one went to.
Yeah, I mean, there was only a couple, like, there was a another Discord called Damsel Causing Distress. And I know
Now, didn't Damsel? They've had two Discords, as I understand it. They had one removed for doxing. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I was actually blamed for that.
Oh,
And yeah, I was. It wasn't me. But she wanted to blame me for it. Um, uh, Now, given when I first came, um, I would like, if there's any doxing or anything like that, I would, you know,
prefer to
I
not
would,
be involved in that.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And I'd let you know, like, hey, be careful with any of this stuff, but she had a whole room for basically that purpose. Now there was a user who um like attacked me, and I um based off of my life, like what happened to me, they sent me a random DM and like called me a liar, all of these kinds of things, and I was like, you don't know me. And so um I reported them to Discord. And because that's something you're just not going to do to me. You're just not going to attack me. um I'm just not going to put up with it. So I reported them. But I went to Damsel and I let her know. Like, I was in her Discord and I let her know. She had a room in her Discord at the time that was all about um SA, right? About SA victims, about SA stories, about all of that kind of stuff. And this person, whoever it was, decided that they, at that time, they were going to go through that room and attack everybody that was in that room and discredit them and call them liars and everything like that. So that's what they did. Well, I reported that.
Oh,
But
wow.
in the midst of that, what happened was Discord went to her, like Discord's moderators. They ended up going to her Discord, looking at it, saw that room that she had that was associated to all doxing, and shut her Discord down and blamed me in association to it because I reported the the abuse that one user was doing to
Good
the
on you.
victims in her room. Which, if you want to blame me for shutting down your Discord, but I let her know that that was happening, and she didn't remove the user. Okay, I'll take it.
You've got to alter the behavior. I mean, especially if it's in that kind of room, like you can't. That's just activities. There's no. I don't think there's really anyone that has the power to question any survivor when they make that claim. Like that's really for the courts and God to sort out. I've never really been cool with any of that sort of stuff of saying, this didn't happen to this person when they say it did. Like once it crosses that boundary, like it's sort of, they call it no man's land. That's for a reason,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I thought it was appalling, personally. And, for me, I had never talked to the person, ever, but they found it appropriate to come into my DMs and accuse me of lying and all of those kinds of things. It's just not, no, we're not going to play that. I don't play that game. I don't play games very well. So, I don't play well with others.
No,
So,
I understand. So, you've got, let's draw the connections again.
okay.
For anyone that's coming in now, because it's starting to, there's more people coming. So
Okay.
we have the connection between Scott H and Windi, who is Brad's ex-wife.
Okay.
Right. We also have the connection between Scott and Trixie is was Brad's top moderator and real life girlfriend, correct?
Right.
Okay. Now, Gemma says she was the recipient of a tip that solved the Bobo case.
Yes. And
that's Willow's Discord, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Willow is actually, she was a reporter in,
like an investigative, like mainstream media reporter.
Oh, she worked for a newspaper, I believe. This is what she told me. She worked for a newspaper, and she helped solve a missing girl's case in that area.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. Wow. So, TM, do you have anything to add to this point?
I'd like Scott to provide an explanation about how this all came to be and why he is hiding this connection to Brad's ex-wife, because this all came before 423 Chase ever came on the scene, right?
This would have been before CM's Discord, which went down, which, as I understand, through Emergency's account, which could have been sometime in July, maybe early August, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
So Chase didn't come around to seek me out. And I've always thought, like, I found Chase because I forgot. Like, he told me to go look at his video. I found it. The rest is history. You don't remember really when people say, hey, check this video out or whatever. So
and actually this is the proof that 423 sought out TM. But of course, this is in the beginning phases. This is in August. So, you know, things are flying around and she didn't realize that this had actually was a thing. Right?
So did Scott have a hand in, and I truly am asking this with no YouTube beef or nothing. This is serious. So did Scott bring Chase here? I think so. Because he had his ex-wife already. Something happened, obviously. But I guess I say leave it up to people to figure it out, because now everybody has this in front of them to see it for their own eyes, right?
Yeah.
Right. That was all. I mean, that's my question now. Like, why is Brad's...
Where did the story about, where the story come from, Brad, the scamming of all this money, like, it's just the craziest stuff. And Scott is attached to this through these people. So yeah, you peeled back a huge layer. And
I would say
my question is this Windi lady, is she the same? That's not the same ex that came up on your panel, is it?
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was my other question, because
that Windi would have been, no.
I was like, I didn't recognize her voice from when the person who came up on panel. So I was like, oh gosh, I didn't recognize that.
Brad has multiple ex-wives, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, such a winner. He's such.
I mean, in the realm of 3, probably.
At least.
Yeah, we know of 3 now. So
are those casino numbers?
Probably.
Fucking loser.
There may be some dice involved too. I don't know.
No.
But this is, the person I was talking to on the phone last night, we were, and I think that I didn't finish this point, is that after my, it didn't really stick with my Cal City experience, right? It didn't calcify in a way where it was like, okay, when you look into Summer Wells, I didn't remember the dynamic of the locals, right? Now, that's going to be a dynamic in any high-profile situation. Unfortunately, they come out of the woodwork, right? Now, I've spoken before about like the committing to things too early. In my opinion, for instance, let me give you an example. I felt like when Jody Sue committed to knowing too early on in the disappearance that there was going to be helicopters and infrared and dog teams and feds, and she committed to it too early. In my opinion, it could have ended up being an organic situation where the girl wanders back a couple hours later, right? But in my opinion, it was too early, right? So with the way that I've seen some of the locals commit to some of their opinions, the committance is real, right? Like it when you deduce it back to where it may have came from, or why you try to figure out why they may feel this way. It seems like potentially the ones that think that maybe the Wells are involved and are locals may have a very strong impact on the case in a way. And then the ones that think they're innocent may have an impact in some way as well, but probably not to the detriment of like the people who believe they're guilty, right? Because when you start to really pick apart some of these relationships with some of these locals, it's a nightmare. Now, to piggyback on the preemptive, like committing too early, Brad just out of nowhere creates a YouTube channel on the 4th of June, 11 days before the girl goes missing. You've got Senior Sancho Wells telling you about 3-4 nights ago he's been knowing Brad. I don't know why I keep trying to call him Chad. Brad for 7 years. Yeah, that's right. Chad. Probably just let that stick.
No, because now we have another Chad, the Chad that saw Candace allegedly, right? We could
correct.
Two Chads.
You've got this preemptive like early arrival for Brad, and I just like listening to some of the stuff I heard last night. He was talking about 4-wheelers and gas, drones and batteries. Got to make sure they're connected right, and then you got to pull the stuff off, and that takes a long time. Let me tell you what it doesn't. Like, let me tell you what it doesn't. If it's not one of the Walmart high-dollar drones, like the stuff is available on your pad and stuff to look at immediately. You know what I mean? Like, it's all bullshit. It's gimmick, right? But when you have Mr. Wells breathe life back into the situation, like I feel like he did the other night. He breathed, for whatever reason, he chose to breathe life back into the legitimacy of Mr. Paper Chaser. And it sucks that we have to go through all this and do all this because there's such a wealth of like dirty information to be found on this. Like there really is a wealth of foul information available. And I don't know why it's not like, why this information, when you peel the hood back, why it doesn't look like, some legitimate organization of people that are in any given community, right? It's not that. It isn't.
Yeah, I'm like in my head, it just doesn't make any sense. Why are there so many hands in the cookie jar
There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's too many. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to go all the way back to Summer, right?
No, it doesn't.
It could just go from the aftermath of Summer and all of these people going, well, I'm local and I want to be important, or I want to be whatever, right?
It's a quick fix, right? Like I think that it's pretty. I mean, if you have delved in the true crime community really ever at all, like you understand if you're a local, like you're gonna blow up quick. Like you could have a really foul opinion, but because you're right there, you seem more legitimate to some folks.
Right. And I definitely think, and I've always said in my head, or in my opinion, that Brad and Scott, I don't think that they disliked each other in real life. I think that all of that was for a local, bickering fest. So
the public appeal locally.
you know, and that they could have this like channel building thing, right? Like that almost like YouTube conflict amongst each other to
Right, where
like,
you build each other on the conflict, and then you get to the end where it feels contenting, and then you
mhm,
become friends.
exactly. And
Chase
so,
is really how all of he came around long enough. If you really, it's crazy because you think he was here for so long. He wasn't. He came around long enough to handle funds,
mhm,
and then he left. As soon as that was it October 16th, the day after the vigil that they had, where they did all the, there was so much that happened. He was gone by the time he came in long enough to do whatever it was he was doing, involved with taking all his money from people and all that, and then he left.
yeah, he came in just enough, just long enough to scoop in
Mm,
the
mhm.
money.
Yes.
And he played that part really, really well. And that was, you know, again, that's the used car salesman part of
Mhm.
him. Of
And you know what, in my opinion, not to cut you off, but there was also the impending doom of that Class C felony from stealing almost $30,000 from the racing guy with the yard barns. Like,
Yeah.
I think that, that was a 10-year felony. That starts at 10 years, or finish it. The cap's 10 years, so 0 to 10. And however he did it, he slithered out of that in a way where he got 0 time. Right? He
yeah,
did
he
a
goes on
walkthrough.
the list.
Basically, he did a walkthrough.
Yeah.
He went in, turned himself in, came out, and you know what I'm saying. He's in the world now, probably amongst us watching, aren't you, with Sean?
He is absolutely
He is.
Mhm.
This is his. He feels like this is his. He's got an ownership to this. He's planted a seed. He has manipulated many other minds, some strong, some not as strong, but mostly not as strong. To come here like Lizard B. Savage, did a whole bunch of stuff in this community, and in my opinion, knowing how his mind probably works, I don't know, but with a fair assessment, I can figure out how he's very unsophisticated. In my opinion, he came here to get the money to try to use on his legal defense for stealing the money from the old man. Now, did he need? Who knows how much he got? Like it was an open funnel far before the billboards even came up. Right now, what's also interesting is when you listen to the Indiana call, and TM, you can jump in anytime. That was your call. There was a point in time where he said that he couldn't stop taking money, although they knew where she was and she was safe.
And I
Right?
reported that to them, and I made sure to say that he was, taking money for the billboard. And I wanted to correct something because people believe that he had a billboard up in Nashville. No, those were put by the Amber Alert system. Chase did not have anything to do with
Correct.
those highway billboards. He did the billboard across from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So, and then he had the 9 static billboards that were supposed to go all around the area, right? So
Now, when you say
I reported,
supposed to go around the area, Miss TM,
yeah.
did those not go around the area, or did those 9
Some of them
statics
went
go?
up, some of them did not. So there was one person in particular who was very good in that way of going and driving by all of the places because I had all of the numbers for the signs to locate them. And they went and they drove by. So I started putting out little videos of there's no billboard on Stone Drive. There's no billboard on highway such and such. So that's how things, started to like move along with Brad and his billboard scam. But anyhow, when he what would you asked me so when I handed that call over, I made sure to say he is actually fundraising to keep a billboard up for this child he's telling me is alive in Indiana. So you have the admission, and he actually says, well, I can't stop taking money now. And that is in the call. So he admits to me on the call, he just can't stop taking money right now. So that was part of my report to them, the
Yeah, I
billboards as well. That was
also
reported November 24th, I believe, or 29th. I can't remember off the top of my head anymore. So,
and also I'd like to highlight yesterday in the videos that you played, Tiffany, he after the reward was over, in the last video that he shares on his channel,
mhm,
he even says in that video, after the reward is over, you know, after
well,
the
yeah,
fundraising is over,
I
he
heard that.
says, you know,
And he also
you
said
can,
he made his money. He
yeah,
said that.
he made
Yeah.
his money, but he's also stating in there, you can keep sending me money for
Yeah.
this, for summer and
Correct.
all that stuff. Why is he still trying to collect money
No
if
one
all
else.
the money that he was trying to collect was for summer
Mhm.
and the billboards and all of that kind of stuff? If that's or for the fundraiser, if all that stuff is over, because it's still just all a money grab for him. That's all it's been about. That's all it was ever about.
Wow, that's really shocking. I mean, it's a sad testament as well to, I guess, the mentality. But you know, it is strange how I know I myself personally have had issues with some of the people that are local there, and they've made the craziest claims about me, who lives far, far. I live 900 miles away, you know, and these folks are all seemingly very connected in a very strange way. And there's just money dashed in, and there's, you know, being local dashed in, and it becomes quite, you know, quite the mixture, in my opinion.
I don't understand how Brad's ex-wife got involved in Chris McDonough's Discord to, I just don't understand that. I don't get it. That makes no sense in my head. Why would why would she be involved? Why would she think she needed to be involved? That's some weird Jody Sue stuff.
It is, and you know, I was hoping that I could zoom through here and find it, and I think I can pretty easy. But so when I got to Tennessee, um, there I did see it there. Um, Brad came to he came to the hotel to pick me up, take me around, show me a few places. Then we went to the, you know, the famous Mexican lunch where he does all the business at, and then took me back to the hotel to my car. Now, when I got it, it's a white Honda Civic. When I got into it, it had all these rubber bands right here that you see. Had all these rubber bands on the blinker or the wiper. It's the wiper side. And I remember saying, damn, that's a whole bunch of rubber bands. What are all them for? And he was like, I have no idea. This is a client's car. Like it was a car that he was using, that somebody brought to his quote unquote shop to be fixed. And I was like, you know, that's strange.
He
Like,
told me he had access to any car he ever wanted, that he never had a problem getting into any kind of vehicle. They were at, he had them by the dozens at his disposal to use vehicles.
right.
That was
Right.
that.
That's that same thing I was told.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
this is white. This is the white Honda. Well, I'm sorry, Tim.
He told you that too?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's so crazy.
I mean, the money. I mean, it was all of that, right? So, what you have to remember is that with the old man who was the race car driver that he took almost 30 grand from, was 27 or 23, whatever it was. He had told the old man, "Listen, give me till this day, and I'll give you the money back, or I'll start giving you the money back." And the old man agreed. It's right in the indictment. And he never delivered on that day. And it's, what's strange is that I feel like there was an overlapping almost where Brad could have taken the money and went back to the old man still. and tried to make it right. Because as I recall, I think he had a public defender on his case for taking the almost 30,000 from the old man. So it wasn't as if he used the money that he scammed from Summers Community to go over and work on his legal defense, right? Now, but back to the rubber bands. He told me he didn't know why the rubber bands were there. It was a client's car, yada yada yada. Come to find out later on, Brad actually runs a paper route, and that the rubber bands are for bundling up the newspapers that he throws out the window, and that's actually his car, the white Honda. It didn't have a radio in it. It was, I mean, it smelled like a fucking toolbox, pardon my French, but it was a lot, you know. And you start to, I know I did, like, once it just really went to hell in a handbag, I remember asking myself, like, all of these high key points that Brad had talked about, like, they all dissolved into a lie. I mean, the pallet of flyers was a pallet of newspapers. It was just on and on and on. Anything he could, he would. And I just don't know. Some of these people say they don't know him, but he's like, if you look around, he's prolific. He's prolific out there. How do these people not know him? I know they know him. And we keep picking away, and we prove that they all know each other. Whether if it's just internet shit or whether it's way before that.
I have a question for you, Benny. On those keys that you saw, did it have a, like, almost like a woman's keychain on it? Like like a lanyard?
That's a good question. I do not remember. What I remember was that he pulled out from the center console, he pulled out what was either blue or green pill bottle, which is the kind of pill bottle that I've ever seen come from a veterinary clinic, right? Like when the vet prescribes medicine, it comes in like a green or a blue bottle. It's different from regular human medicine. It's to, it's to signify it. So he pulled out a couple of times while I was with him. I was only with him for like 3-4 hours. He pulled out that bottle twice and took a pill out of it. It was a big giant pill. It almost looked like an Altoid. It was big, but he pulled it out twice and took a pill out of it. And I remember the first time I was like, what are you taking there? And he said it was for his cancer or whatever.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and so I just, like, there was a lot going on. Like, his pants were ripped all up, and he looked a little bit grungy, and I was like, what is going on here? Like, it was a lot to take in, you know?
Okay.
So, like, let me show you really quick. It was, see, like these are animal medicines. They're in green. Yeah, right? The VCA.
Okay.
So it was, as I recall, it was a bottle like this. It wasn't like this. It was like this. It was like a vet bottle. And I was like, that's strange. And I just didn't question it too much more after that. But how D presents, how does Lizard fit in? Now, that's an interesting question. Do you have, I mean, I have an idea. And I think that it comes from the necessity of money, right? I think that because I'll tell you, while I was having lunch with Chase, it was strange. I've talked about this before. We were at the Mexican restaurant, and he was asking me basically like for permission to like pursue Lizzie B. Savage. He's like, and I'm like, hey, Lena, thank you for your super sticker, baby. It means the world. Timmy Queen, thank you so much this afternoon. Basically asking me for like the green light to like go, pursue Lizzie. And I was like, yeah, bro, I don't have nothing going on with Lizzie. Like, no, it ain't like that. And that's the way he made me feel. Like, he thought maybe I would be upset if he did that. And I was like, no, man, she's grown, you're grown. And that was sort of like the first time I knew that it was like a lot more than what Lizzie has said, more than them just like, chatting or emailing or whatever, right? it became like more intense, and I just sort of brushed it off. But then it was like at the time where Lizzie D had mentioned going there to Tennessee, which I believe she may have already been there, but had made a comment or a video, or I think it was a video, talking about how she was going to set up a trust fund for the Wells boys at a local bank there, and of course, was going to be utilizing Brad's help to do it. And I was like, nah, hell no, nah, shit no. Yeah, it was already pretty clear that Brad was siphoning money from the community. Like, a lot of proof had come out, and now she teams up with Brad, and she wants to go to Tennessee, and she wants to open up a trust fund account that only her and the boys. And I'm like, nah, hell no, I can't back that. So I stepped away, and that's kind of when it went ugly. She stated Brad was very wealthy. He told me he was wealthy.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
if he's wealthy, then why would he need a public defender?
That's it. That's exactly it. I mean, if he's wealthy, he wouldn't have needed to take the money from the old man that started all the trouble for him, right?
Right.
But I know.
But
go
a
ahead. I'm
public
sorry.
defender. I mean, if he needs a public defender, that means that he doesn't have income to
Suffice
qualify.
enough for right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so that tells you right there, right alone, that he doesn't own a business, that he doesn't, any of those kinds of things. So he doesn't have an income bringing in anything.
Right.
He's so. I mean, that right there tells you everything that you need to know about Brad.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's wealthy but dirty and driving a client's car. Absolutely. I don't know. I mean, it goes to, and this is the thing that I think we probably, I don't know how far we expound on it. And TM, you can jump in at any time, but I don't know when to expound on the fact that we all know Brad took money. We know it. We know he showed fake, what he called bills, yada, yada, yada. He took a lot of money from a lot of different women. Some of us know who they are specifically.
In order for him to be charged, sorry, Benny, they have to report it. Like, I've always said that, they have to report it in order. Like, a lot of people want to see him charged for something, but if they're not reporting this to their bank institution, I don't even know if you could now. It's been so long. But,
absolutely.
In order to do that, you have to contact your law enforcement agency, your bank institution. There's a lot that goes into that. And you got to follow through, So sure. No charges will ever come if the people who were actually taken advantage of don't handle that through their own proper,
precisely.
Yeah, they have to report that to their places.
Yeah.
So.
And he's got a history. It's lengthy.
Libby says they still can report them.
Yeah, I don't know what the
okay.
I don't know what I think it's 2 year statute of limitation on some of these things. 2 year criminal statute of limitation. But
the thing with money fraud, that's not a victimless crime. If he stole money from you, he stole money from somebody else. That's a crime that he's going to commit on other people. If you don't report those types of incidents with you, he's going to continue to pull that on someone else.
Precisely.
Please do something. If not for yourself, do it so it doesn't happen to somebody else.
Sure. If you hadn't have come to me, I would have never known this, and we would not be able to piece this stuff together. And you are such a perfect example of what people need to stand up and speak and do the right thing when they find these things. Like, you right away said something.
It's just
it's the best thing that you can do.
The thing is that if he did it to you, and he had no qualms about doing it to you, he'd have no qualms doing it to your mother. He'd have no qualms doing it to your father. He'd have no qualms doing it to your kid. He'd have or anybody else's mother, father, kid. So you have to stop the cycle with people like this.
Yeah.
You can't allow them to continue to do it.
No. And for me, like, the thing that's glaring right now, that's just really the elephant in the room, is the fact that you've got all this money that's been scammed. And you've also got Donald saying that, Mr. Wells saying that, this is a good friend of mine. And so you've got a good friend now who's scammed a bunch of money. You've come here and said he didn't. In fact, you expounded and said that he paid for billboards in Nashville, which we know wasn't true. But then you've got a couple of others, right? And
well, then you have the story that Chase told about Summer being alive and how
that's
she
what I was going to say.
off the hill too, and Don's cool with that. That blows my mind.
Right. And then you've got Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
He says that he has firsthand information. He knows the child is safe in Indiana. Grandis is going to be the hero. And then you've got something that he evaded it like the plague on the horn with Linda. And that was the whole talk about him at some point having told Linda that Summer was with Christy Vincent.
Right.
Yeah. What the hell is that about?
Wow.
Yeah. So when you've got an individual that's running around making these claims to TM, saying, oh, the Indiana State Police or whatever, they know about her being safe, Grandis is going to be. And with that claim, he said that Don was raping the child. Did he not?
He did.
Yes.
He said Don was raping her. Grandis set it up. She's going to be the hero. So I guess that's his good friend. I don't know. But so he did that. And then he had some whole other crazy communication, people, with Linda about Christy Vincent, the doctor's wife, who said she's been scammed out all the money for the billboard, having Summer Wells. But this is his good friend. So you've got a good friend that's implanting things like this into our community. What is that to say about you? Where are you in all of this? That's what I need to know.
And then you got his ex-wife running around playing games way before. None of it. Just don't.
I wonder how ex she might be. Emergency.
Exactly. Like
maybe Brad's a recycler.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like when I saw her face, and I thought that it was his sister, right? Like that's what I was told. The whole thing just went, what? Like these people are playing around in the mud, and we've got Summer missing, and what the hell is going on around here? None of this makes any damn sense. I mean,
it doesn't. There was clearly, in my opinion, emergency. There's no design. It's just a bunch of vandals that got together for, a greater cause than I guess usually they can tackle by, singular by themselves, solo. Like they all can get together and create some sort of weird ass web of deception or something. But didn't Scott say, any super chats that he got sent during the marathon weren't going to it? He was keeping those?
Yes, he absolutely did.
Yeah, he absolutely did. I thought he did.
In front of the whole world.
In front of the whole world, yeah.
That was after he said he was collecting it for the reward, but then he changed his mind and was like, I'm keeping them.
Yikes. Okay, fair enough. That seems to be a lot for this morning.
I think
this afternoon.
It summed it up perfectly. You did such a great job, Emergency Me, with explaining everything. It's so easy to follow. Appreciate that.
The one thing I'm leaving out, and I think it's important, is that there was people on that phone call, that original phone call, that have been, and I don't remember everybody, but it was like in a group call at that, and I don't know if it's still the same, but there's like, you can have a group call of 10 at a time. And there were people in that group call that have been a part of our community and that have been side by side with Scott this whole ride. And I'm going to name one person, and the only reason I'm going to name her is because I know for sure it's her. And the only reason I know is for sure it's hers because she actually attacked me at one point in time, and then we became cool. But and then obviously she's not a part of us anymore now. But Indy, she was in that call.
Yeah, Indy was with me for Scott for probably about 1.5 years. Yeah.
She was in that call. She knew everything. And so, Indy, you know what I'm saying is true. You were there. You can
I
vouch for
hope that
this.
she speak up and do the right thing. I hope.
You know, you were there. You saw this. You saw her. You know exactly what
awesome.
I'm saying is true. You know it all. And I don't know if you'll step forward and say the right thing because you've been ride or die Scott the whole time. But you know I'm saying the truth. You know it. You know who Wendy is. You know Scott was there. You probably know, all of this. You know who no one is. Or if I'm right with that's her name. It was know something. You know this. Do the right thing and speak up. Again, this isn't about who we're loyal to. This isn't about who anything is. This is about Summer. It's always been about Summer.
It's about
It
weird
comes
locals
down
involved in stuff.
correct. It's not about the creators. It's not about this. It's about Summer. It's a 5-year-old missing girl who just turned 7. It's about her. Fuck your loyalties.
And I want to say something real quick about Indy. So one thing that's always bothered me, I don't have anything to say about her. I'm not going to trash her or anything. I remember one time, because she was in my mod chat and Discord for a long time. We were on a call and she changed her name to Indiana. She's not from Indiana. It was very interesting, and she changed her whole avatar. And I looked up and saw the name Indiana on the Discord call, and I was like, who is that on this call? Like, I don't even know. And she did, yeah. And it was after that Indiana call. So very interesting. And it's like come back to me. I think about that sometimes because it always sketched me out. But it's weird.
Yeah. And again, it's do the right thing. This again, it's not about Scott. It's not about any of this crap. It's not. It's about Summer. And if you're here for Summer, you'll say the right thing. And I don't have to pressure you. You know it's true. There's nothing I'm saying that's not true. You know it. Just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Even if you have to say it to your closest confidants. They probably already know. But
Sure.
Scott knows, everybody in that phone call knows. I can't remember all the people that were in it, but there was 10 of us. And y'all got kicked out of, Chris's Discord. And y'all got pissed off about it. Y'all accused me of being the one that, told Miss Sophia. I wasn't the one, but you guys accused me of it.
He's the bestest troll on YouTube that lives an 11-minute drive from where the girl was last seen.
Ooh.
That's amazing. That's quite the accomplishment. That's right up there with the Home Depot retirement. It's awesome. That's sweet.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's gross.
Yeah.
But, the thing is that, I got it at the end of the day, I got no real loyalty to bullshit. And it comes down to Summer, right? I love y'all, but I ain't covering anybody's ass for nobody. No. It's about Summer for me.
That's why you're up here right now. And everybody knows that. I do. For sure.
Well, I do want to thank both of you for your contribution this morning. Do you have anything that you'd like to say?
I don't. I just want to say thank you to Emergency Me for coming up here and talking about this so that everybody knows and can hear it from her and straight from the source. I appreciate you having us, Benny. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been my pleasure. I don't know. I get tired of people that are local to it saying weird things about me, and then I just sort of barely dig around, and then other people are barely digging. Like, this isn't like this crazy investigation that's come from anywhere. This is just like some things that clicked, and it's like it's crazy to me to be continued to be blamed for things or said I'm doing things that I'm not or whatever, and then find these connections in these weird ways to these people. And so, Emergency, I really appreciate I appreciate you just being in the positions you were in, that it just sort of clicked like this. You're definitely you're a valuable asset to the community.
Well, I mean, in those times, I was like, ugh, kind of situation. And, I always make it a point to, to listen, to listen to people. But I just couldn't believe, when I saw her face. That was it. I just, when I saw that picture, and, and like along the way of everything, I've said this on like multiple occasions. Like, I don't hide, like I don't hide shit. And I have a really big mouth. And a lot of, I do in a lot of
That's
circumstances.
okay.
I don't hide things. I tell the truth, in of what I know. So people have heard like this story, along the way, like the whole time I've been here, just parts
Right.
of it in certain circumstances, right? They've heard me talk about Scott. They've heard me talk about all of these things. They just haven't heard it concisely throughout. Right?
And all put together.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's those kinds of things. Like, I've talked about it, and it's nice to be able to lay it out, and then for me to have that, her picture, right, and then be like, whoa, that's who that is. It blew my mind as much as it's probably racking on everybody else's. And I'm just glad that connection made it in my head. And
Absolutely.
that, because it wouldn't have, if she would not have accidentally showed her face in that phone call,
You wouldn't know who's who.
I would have no idea. And then on top of it, I haven't seen her since. Like, I haven't seen the YouTube's, not YouTube, that Discord name again.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't heard her voice again. Like, I don't know where she went. So I don't know if she, uses a different name, or she just
Probably
disappeared.
not far, Emergency. I would imagine not far.
I'm sure. But and the only other person that I have not heard their voice, that like basically refused to talk to me, was Miss Hala. She refused to talk to me. And we were mods together. We had mod chat, all of those kinds of things. She refused to talk to me every single time. And we weren't always like on bad terms.
But it became pretty obvious.
Yeah, she refused to talk to me. And I always wondered why. Like, why won't you talk to me? But she refused to talk to me.
Wow.
So, and I was always suspicious of it.
Well, I mean, thank you for holding on to the pieces. It just, I think that there's a lot of people in the community that, because of the time lapse and this, that, and the other, would have, probably gotten rid of that information to make room for new. And so you have a fabulous mind, and we sure appreciate it.
Well, I wish I would have kept all the screenshots. That's the one thing I wish I would have kept, is all the screenshots that I would have I took during those time frames, because then I would have all of that stuff to back up everything. But I didn't keep any of it. I didn't keep any of that stuff. And that's the stuff that would have, it's not just on my word. I would have proof of everything. But, at the end of the day, you can believe me or you don't believe me.
No, I believe you substantially.
Well, I mean, and this goes for the masses, you can believe me or you don't believe me. And at the end of the day, quite frankly, I'm good.
Yeah, who cares?
I'm good. I know I'm being honest. It's the people that are out there, like it's the Brad, it's the Scott, it's this Wendy lady, it's all of those people. They know I'm telling the truth also. They know it. And
It's a network.
they're the ones that now know that other people know and that are looking at him, and we've been looking at you, you know, but now they know that other people are making connections too. And I'm not the only one that was in that phone call. And I'm not the only one that's had phone calls with you people. And that if I'm talking and I'm coming out and saying it, other people are going to say it too. Other people are going to say
Exactly.
those phone calls, because I didn't mention the person that was on the phone call with me when I didn't mention that name. But trust me, Scott, you offended her because you were talking homophobic about her son. Her son. She was on that phone call too. Don't think that she won't reach out to somebody and confirm it. Don't think she won't. You know what you said. You've had multiple conversations with people just like that. Brad, you've scammed multiple people. They're going to say something. They're going to do it. You can't keep people's voices locked up. You can't do it. Wendy, you know what you did and when you did it. Me saying that you did it is now giving people the opportunity to say, yeah, I was there too. I'm
You
giving
open the
them
door.
strength to
You
do
are
it.
giving them strength. Absolutely.
So don't
Absolutely.
think that these people, other people out here, are not going to get brave. I don't mind being that. I don't mind it. You can take it
Me
out
either.
on me. You don't think it's going to be the first time or the last time that I'm going to be a backbone for somebody? You got me
Negative.
wrong.
Yep. Yeah, you've been the backbone for a long time.
I'm good.
You are good. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that right now. You're real good.
So it's those kinds of things. It's about time that we all start stepping up and stop holding our mouth, because at the end of the day, it all comes down on Summer. And I'm not being quiet for Summer. I'll do anything for that girl. Anything for her. And that's what we have to do. We're not holding our mouths for Summer. We're speaking loud and proud for Summer. She is the victim here, not any one of us. That means, Don, you're not a victim. Candace, you're not a victim. Jody, you're not a victim. Nobody is a victim but Summer.
That's right. That's right.
And we have
Thank
to
you.
say what we have.
That's right.
Or you're just re-victimizing Summer. And I'm not about re-victimizing victims. But Benny, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
You are the backbone. I'll tell you what.
I don't want to be the backbone. I just want people
You are a backbone.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's, about being a survivor of things. You learn to grow one. You have to.
That's it.
You
absolutely do.
But more importantly, you have to learn to grow your voice. You have to.
Yeah.
And you have to use it for good, not bad.
You're absolutely right. Thank you for joining me, Miss Emergency. I hope you have a beautiful remainder of the day. Hopefully, you're not getting the same kind of weather I am. But if you are,
no,
oh, good. Oh,
it's
good.
beautiful.
Good. Go enjoy it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, love you, and I hope you have
too,
a
baby.
wonderful day.
I do for you as well.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Heavy duty. D says, "Thank you, Emergency, for the insight, the enlightenment." I'll have to probably listen to it again, even because it's just such an integral web of connections that the mask falls off of, and You know, it changes your calculations too, right? If you're all the time making the adjustments in what you think has happened with Little Summer Wells, when you hear what seems to be, you know, not to people that don't know, the hell they don't know, right? But for the rest of us, things like this make you adjust your calculation in a way that it's not instantaneous. It takes time to measure all of this new information against what we already think we know. I think that's a pretty safe way to say it, right? We actually, I hear a lot of people say we don't know anything, and I'm like, well, you know, maybe that's not entirely true, but it's the actuality, right? It's the reality, right? We know what they've told us, right? So again, thank you, Emergency, for coming up and being the insight. There is so much, D, and they spin together and they come off other things and they link and lock over here, and you know, to forget one thing sometimes isn't very problematic, because as you talk about it, bam, it's going to pop back up. Other times, you know, you've got to make room for this new information. So I think the takeaway for the last 5, 6, 7 days has been 7-year relationship with a physical altercation, good friends. You know, there's so many, right? There's a lot of high keynotes. You've got Don on Josh's claiming he's the victim of his sister. You've got Don saying that there's only 2, but on a private call with me admits that there's 3. The call with me was far before what he said on Josh's. So there's a lot of takeaways this week, and you know, hopefully everyone needs to just be inspecting behaviors, so to speak, right? How are people behaving after information comes out? What are they saying? You know, just bring it all to the forefront, right? Because so many of us, you know, I live down south. Tiffany lives out east. Fizzle lives out east. There's so many of us that are hours and hours and hours away from all of this stuff. And there are people that I'm a dozen hours away. I'm a half a day away. But for some of these weird people like Brad and Scott and TT, some of these weird people that are very, Jody, very local, minutes from it, you've got a whole web of spiders. And they got a spider on each edge of the web, right? One big web in the middle and all these spiders on the edges, right? Something drops in and they all rush to the middle. And then occasionally you get a spat between the spiders. We aren't the spiders. We are the flies. They are the spiders. Remember that. That's a good takeaway. Devious locals are the spiders. We are not locals. We do not deserve to be talked about and spoken about in the light of these weird ass, devious, nefarious locals that the connections go way back. Way back. Oof. You know, I love all of you individually. Remember that. Luda, Amy, Kara, right? Brainwasher, Ange, Grace, TM. Yeah, we're flies, right? They are the spiders. Spider hole. Grammy, Lil G, Innocent, Sugar Moon Garden, Amy, Luda, Nana 6, D Presents, Stacy B, Grace Green, Brainwasher, Lace and Chains, Lil G. I appreciate everyone for being here. Everyone, Bridget, Fizzle, Lily, all of the regulars, all of us, right? I appreciate all of you, and I really appreciate Tiffany and Emergency Me this afternoon. Thank you for your time. God bless you all. Linda, thank you for your time. Windi, Brad, so on and so forth. Maybe I'll be back on later. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Love all of you individually. Remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.